You're back with Bek and Zach. We're talking about the pathway to peace. In the last episode, you talked about the mountainous journey toward peace.
Yep.
Because it's not always easy. Humility, mourning, and grief, and pain, and gentleness. And not gentleness in terms of laying ourselves down, but really strength and restraint and what that brings.
Yep.
So where to next?
Yeah, it's another place we definitely don't feel like going after doing the first three. I think of these first three as often kind of as far as a lot of people go in life, in relationship. It's if I can find someone I don't have to perform around, I can just be honest, and they share pain with me, and we do go through the ups and downs together, and they don't try to control me. That's like,
it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And it's like, why would you want to go any deeper than that? That's like, I mean, and it's an easy place to become contented with the intimacy and where a relationship's at, and to not even know that there is more available. And also in yourself, it's, you know, it's like you're climbing the mountain, like you've gotten up pretty high, and the view is pretty good. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if this is worth going to another sketchy bit. I was just climbing a little bit with a friend of mine, and we were just climbing on these little cliffs and rocks with no rope, and we got to a really beautiful spot, but then it just hit another spot where we're like, we know we could do that, but it's on the edge of like you're taking a high risk to get over that next part without any backup if you slip or anything. And we weren't in the right shoes and the right things. And we kind of just stopped there. And I feel like that with this one, it's like, well, we're pretty good. And the last thing you want to introduce into a community or a relationship that is feeling so good is conflict or tension or strain, and like, let's go further. So, but this one I would say is where, like we said, we're going through these 8 blessings of Jesus, these Beatitudes. After meekness and moving through that in gentleness and not controlling each other, the next one is a hunger and thirst for righteousness, which is a really interesting concept. Like, and I mean, this is written in the Middle East where they go through famines and they have wilderness and desert, and they're extremely poor. They know what hunger and thirst is like, a desperate space. And that's the word being used, that you, out of the great comfort of deep relationship, of not controlling each other and being honest and walking through pain together, now we're going to get really uncomfortable and hungry and aching for righteousness. And what is righteousness? It's not being right, which a lot of times in peacemaking, or not even peacemaking, just in conflict, is, but I'm right. And you know, like, someone can be completely right and totally be wrong in the way they're losing everything. They're losing respect. They're losing their team. They're losing the whole thing's crumbling because they demand to be right. They're so sure they're right. And what's right by me, you know, it's we desire what I think is right, which is that you suffer, or, you know, that getting revenge, or what's right for my people. I only care about my people, my tribe, my crew, and I want justice or righteousness for my group, not for everyone and everything. And that will be the stumbling block to you ever going deeper in relationship and experiencing the whole new levels of what peace could come into your life.
I have a question there, because we talked like very early on about honest pain.
Yeah.
And grieving together. And I guess my question is kind of like, if we've done that, then surely I want best for you. And then I've laid down my control. Why is this such a stumbling block if we've already kind of decided this is what we want? Like, why do we tend to go back to that selfish sense of rightness or justice or...
Yeah. There's still more that's undealt with, even though you've cried and you've been as honest as you can with yourself and you've been meek. But if you've done those three fully, the humbling honesty, the tears have flown, which means your pain is no longer driving you. It's been released. So you're not driven and controlled by your pain. And then you've learned to let go of control and walk in gentleness. When you hit this stage of ache for all things to be made right, you will have a new desire than what you had when you started. When you started, you wanted this to stop and for them to change and for them to pay for what they did and all this. But if you've done all that and the pain's not there anymore, or not in the infected way, the pain, open wound, and you have learned to let go of controlling outcomes, a new desire grows, a new ache, a new hunger. And this is not just individually, but as a group, you start to ache and hunger for something greater, which is a good that is for all. It's not just what I want. I want that position next, or I want this to go my way, or any of that. You start to crave for all of you, or for both of us to thrive. And it doesn't matter what the cost is. I just want us all to thrive, not just when push comes to shove, I'm gonna want what I want. But that's the key to know if you've done the first three right, is that you will find your desires have been transformed to be for everyone and not just myself. And I think of that as a father too. Like, I've been transforming the longer I'm a father. I hope I'm moving towards a place where I really want what's best for all of us and not just for myself. But I know there's some days it's like, I just want to sleep, It's just like, I want what I want. And I'm not gentle because I'm frustrated and it's all this process is happening. But I hope to become a father that I really just want what is best for all of us and not just what's best for me and what I want and what I think is best and all that. But that's the key to know. Have you done the first three? Is, are you in your ache for the world or for this relationship to go further? Does it lead you to cynicism, bitterness, resentment, and anger? Because that's often when people cry out for justice. Right. It's, I want justice. And the more they hunger and thirst for it, the more cynical, bitter, resentful, and everything they become. But
so like, justice isn't inherently bad necessarily.
No, and that's the hard part of it.
Yeah.
For us.
So what's that wrestle between justice and righteousness? Like, what's
Well, in the Hebrew thinking and dictionary, it's the same word. So it's an interesting concept and it's not justice the way we define it in the West. We've kind of turned justice into a monetary system. And we even use the words like reconciliation, which is really an accounting term. You match up all the numbers and make it even. We want fairness and we want all this. We're all about, you did this, so you get this, and like balancing things. But in the Hebrew framework, righteousness was deeply connected with peace. They're always together. Righteousness and peace come together. And what it means is not justice that everything's made equal. It's every relationship is relating rightly. And it's not even just with you and me. It's also with nature, with the laws of physics. If I throw myself off of a building, I'm not relating well with gravity,
Right.
and I'm not relating appropriately, and I will pay for it.
Right.
There will be a shift in our relationship very soon. And if I'm eating junk,
Right.
I'm not relating properly with my body and with food, and therefore, righteousness is actually the righting of all relationships. Everything is relating rightly with each other. And when you start to crave for that and move towards that, it's kind of like the last episode we were talking about, moving from trying to win to trying to attach. It becomes, my desire is not to win anymore. That's often what some people term as justice, and they put beautiful words around it. I want justice for this, and it all sounds right.
Yeah.
But the spirit underneath it is actually, I want to win.
Yeah.
Not, I want us to be made whole again. And so the distinction is, if you haven't done the first 3 steps up the mountain, when you start to ache and long for the world or for your relationships or your community to be better, you'll know that you didn't do the first 3 fully, because you will go more cynical, more negative, more bitter, more resentful, and more angry. But what's wild is, if you do full honesty, humility, and you fully let the tears flow in this situation that you're facing, let the pain be processed, you start walking and letting go of control and people, and letting control of people and the situation, and walk in gentleness and restraint. When the ache for a better future comes, a more beautiful way, you will take a sharp turn towards mercy and joy and goodness, and you'll build the world out of a positive place. But you can't do it if you haven't done the first 3. Sure. But this is like quite a distinctive thing, because our whole world is using the term justice and aching, and people are campaigning and all of this. But you can tell, I think that's where that phrase, like, you'll know them by their fruit. And the fruit of that protest, that fight, that battle for justice, is it deeper blessings and wholeness in community, or is it actually greater and greater division, brokenness, and pain?
Yeah.
And
I really see the necessity of that letting go of control piece. Like, again, just reflecting on myself.
Yes.
I find the first 2 fairly easy to be, not easy, but I've practiced them in my life for a long time. But then I jump to strategy. What can I do about it?
Yep.
In this idea that there could be a better way than my limited thinking in the context of relationship, I think is an interesting thought. Yes. I'm thinking about the rooms that you've been in where you're facilitating this process, maybe in a really high conflict zone or a place with a lot of heartache or loss. What are the key questions that unlock this way of thinking that, like, there is something greater to desire here?
Yeah.
The picture's bigger, the view's bigger.
Yeah.
There's something way better than we've anticipated.
Yeah.
What unlocks that process?
Yeah. In the rooms that I put together of warring tribes or all sorts of enemies coming together, doing those first 3 is vital, because before we talk about what future we want, we first need to listen to each other. We need to cry a bit, and we need to let go of a bit of control, because only then will we be able to do the next thing, which is actually not that complicated of a process. It's just, what do you think peace would look like if everyone had it in your community, in your country, or whatever? And letting all of them contribute, the pictures they draw, the things they talk about, and what they imagine, they never would have imagined that morning before they showed up. They had if you ask them, at the end of today, do you think you'll be able to see a possibility of peace in your country? No, we are so far. It's just impossible. Many people tell me it's not possible. It's too much. How do we change this? how do we change this in Australia? It's too big. It's, and then, but something through that process of humbling ourselves, crying together, and starting to engage meekness, people start to believe, wait, I could do something. Actually, you know what? Maybe we could do it together. And I've heard of such amazing things that when you see it happening, you go, oh yeah, I guess they could do that. But I've seen groups in Indonesia of old ladies who are Muslim, Christian, and Buddhist. And they meet every week, and once a month they go and clean the place of worship of each different community around. They just travel around and do cleaning together as an act of peace. So it's like, on what planet would that ever happen? That can't happen. And then, but something happened in their hearts that opened their eyes to go, why not? Why not do stuff together? Why not meet together regularly? And it's not necessarily even about what we think the divisions are about. It's when you actually get together, a lot of the things we think we're fighting about aren't even there.
Sure.
It's actually something else. It's for a lot of the groups I work with, you think religion is the source of violence. That's a big thing, goes around the world. Religion's the most violent thing. I've been all over the world. Almost no one is fighting for religion, even when they say they are. The things that people kill over is economics, it's money, and status, and power. And they label it religious because that group's Muslim and that group's Buddhist, but they're not having like theological discussions about who is God or anything. No, it's about who is going to control this piece of land, and we're getting oppressed, and we need to, and it's like almost always every situation I see is, even when it looks so religious, it's not. It's just the religion's the label over the top, and underneath is all this stuff about control, and about pain. They haven't processed the pain. They haven't been honest, and they are desperate to get some control because they're in such a tough situation. So
I'm thinking about like the tight line between like control and stewardship. I'm thinking about a place that I visited, and it was a group of people who lived in a coastal area, and they were really affected by changing tides, right? So like I'm telling you, they put natural materials over mud just so they could walk from house to house. Like there was no solid ground. And because of that, like no gardens, not very few places where you could grow food other than like maybe, a few.
Yeah.
And so most of the diet was fish.
Yeah.
You don't have to go very far, and there's beautiful land with beautiful, well-producing gardens.
Yeah.
And my thought was like, well, why not just
move?
Why not just move? Or why not have an agreement with the people who live there?
Yeah.
It's not always that complicated. I mean, it's not always that easy. Like for me, that just sounds like the obvious answer.
Yeah,
but there's deep-rooted things.
Yeah.
So when you're competing, and like for the people that are facing that, as a father, as maybe an elder in a community, there's very real stewardship issues. Like we've been given this for the flourishing of our people. If people don't want to work with us, we are limited in resources. So how do you balance that stewardship with also a longing for rightness that could cause not only me but others to flourish? And where's that line? Yeah,
I think you can't access that until further up the mountain in this sense, because we want those answers from before we even start. Because if we had this answer, we don't have to do all this journey together to get there. But it's all gonna still be in this journey of that community and the community next door have to go on this journey together to get to where they even first, like we're just at this stage where we're hungering and thirsting for it all to be made right. That's just the desire, not the completion of that.
Sure.
It's like just to desire it takes 4 steps, and a lot of them, even so if
maybe just scaling back that question then.
Yes.
Like how important is believing in human dignity and loving your neighbor in this process? Like, is this where that comes in? The righteousness. Like I have to care about my neighbor.
Yeah. I think that idea of dignity and love is in every one of these steps. It's growing and being changed as you go. Because everyone in the world, that in most places I see, there is some level of dignity, but only for some, for my people, for my family, for my group, or however you have measured humanity. And the journey through these steps is the raising of everyone to a place of dignity.
But maybe that's the question then.
Yeah.
How do I move beyond my desire for rightness for my people?
Yeah.
The ones I care about. To that place where actually you're just as important. Your people are just as important as ours. What are the keys to unlocking that?
Well, I mean, that is the place where the most absurd thing Jesus ever said comes into play. And I think it's one of the lesser talked about things that he said, because it's so extreme. We, even as Christians, just kind of instantly water it down or readjust it. And well, he doesn't mean, does he really mean, I don't know, does he? Because his answer to that is pray for your enemies. And not pray that they die or that they get justice or whatever. You just pray, bless them, like pray good things, desire that they thrive and flourish, and do good for them, even while they are trying to destroy you and do all that. Don't play that game. Like, do good, and then love them, which is just so absurd. There's no one else in the world that ever said that in any religious context. It's just so far beyond our imagination. But this is what unlocks at this stage, as you've done your own humility, which your own humility is also to realize, that first step is also to realize, I'm maybe just as bad as anyone else. And if I was in that same position, I would have chosen the same things they did. And bringing yourself down a bit from condescending to some people in the world who you go, how could they? Anytime I roll my eyes and go, what idiots, like how could they have, what that tells me is that I don't understand it and I don't have all the information. I don't have the whole truth, because I know someone is going to be upset with me for saying this, but in the many people I've met around the world and cultures and places, I'm convinced that no one in the world is stupid. And if you knew their story, if you knew all the dynamics that brought them to that place, they might not be good, they might be evil, but they're not stupid. There's a reason, and you could understand it if you are open. But that first step of humility and honesty is that too, to open myself up, to say, maybe I don't know everything, and maybe I'm not right, and maybe I could be just like anyone else in this story. And so that humbles you, which then allows you to process your pain in a humble way, not in a self-pity way, into meekness. And you then can start to pray for your enemies and bless us, and genuinely long for them to feel, to have healing, and not long for revenge and to make their life miserable. Even when they're making it miserable for me, I'm not going to go down that road. I'm going to walk a new path. Something happens there when you actually do it and don't just talk about it and don't say, well, Jesus said this once. Actually pray for them and pray that they'll do well. Something, I don't know how it works in your brain, but it rewires your brain. And I think for me, that when I started to do that, I saw everything different, and I had the ability to imagine a more beautiful way, which is what we're calling this stage, is you begin to hunger and thirst for a more beautiful world, a more beautiful way. And your imagination opens to things that you couldn't imagine before. You had no vision for it, and now your eyes are starting to open, that maybe there's a million other futures we could have together that are better. And
Ellie Holcomb sings a song, and it takes that quote from Psalms that says, "He prepares a table for me in the presence of my enemies."
yeah,
And then it says, "There's a room for my enemies." And then
Yeah.
it says, "No longer my enemies." And I think I really wrestled with that line
yeah,
because I think there is this, you're acknowledging that there is evil in the world.
yes,
And so how do you not tolerate evil and yet long for the possibility that we could sit at a table together in all goodness?
Yeah.
And we see it generationally. I mean, think about the conflicts that our grandparents and great
yeah,
grandparents
seriously.
were having.
Yeah,
Those are the places like some of our great friends are from now. Like our
Yeah.
countries were at war in our history.
yeah,
They're different countries at war right now, but
Yep.
like imagine if our grandchildren were
yeah,
visiting each other. Like
Yeah.
that's the ultimate. But is there any, I kind of go to self-protection, and maybe that's the mother. Like, what's the protection from evil in that midst?
Yeah.
Or is it just that place of surrender and prayer and hope for the best?
Yeah, well, I think that's where, again, we're just going to keep going through and through as we go.
Sure.
Is that first step is honesty, absolute honesty.
Yeah.
And if you can't do that with someone, you can't go forward.
Sure.
So you if they refuse to
those
be
are our
honest,
guards.
Yeah, it's
Those
a
are our
guard.
guardrails
Yeah,
or
because
our
if you
camps.
refuse
Yeah.
to be honest with me about the fact that you are doing evil, you are
Right.
you are hurting me, and I've challenged you on it, and you refuse.
Yeah.
I still can go through up the mountain myself and cry,
Right.
and I can let go of control and all that, but I'm not gonna let go of truth that, hey, that's not okay. And I'm not gonna let you keep doing that. But not out of control, not out of like manipulation, but out of truth. But then if there ever breaks through a place where that truth is accepted in some way, we can acknowledge and they're willing to be honest,
Yeah.
then we find a way. But it's not gonna be maybe the way they want, or everyone has to let go of
Yeah.
some things to get there. But
Yeah.
I think that's a real guardrail on this, that all the way through you're still doing all four.
Yeah.
And you can't let go of honesty
Yeah.
in the name of meekness or
Sure.
whatever. Like, no, then you're back. You gotta actually hold all four of these at the same time, and it keeps you from getting becoming a pawn to evil, narcissistic people, that are driven to lie and deceive and manipulate and all that. But this is actually kind of an inoculation from that. It's setting you free from all those games, and you are starting to break free, which of course will have lots of people who are around you who are playing those games will not be happy when you are breaking free. And
You said some of the signs that maybe we're not hungry and thirsting for rightness with everyone. Bitterness, anger, cynicism. What are some of the signs that we're flourishing in that?
Yeah. There's what's the definition of that? Cynicism has a ton of dynamics in it that are just completely lethal to any community or any relationship. It's in the name of being right and even trying to help that you are just always complaining with no thought of you getting your hands dirty to help fix what you're complaining about. It's you just want to cast the stones from a distance, and you are permanently isolating yourself from others while blaming them for your isolation, and like there's I wish I had more clear words on it, but I think those who are always in a negative space and always cynicism is different from hungering and thirsting for righteousness, because cynicism comes from you are inherently discontent with people, with yourself, with life, with the world. and then you cast all your judgments of your discontentment and your from a negative space complaining about the negative, and it just spirals you down into bitterness and all of this. The hunger and thirst for righteousness comes from contentment. When you are hungry, when you are humble and honest, you've processed your pain, and you're no longer in a controlling relationship with each other. Like I said, it's so contenting. It's like, oh, I don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's from that contentment that you desire for more, to be a part of this, more for others to be engaged with this. You're jumping into justice is actually because there's something so fulfilling that is you want to share, rather than I have nothing and this all sucks and you suck and everyone sucks. And like, it's this like actually from a positive space of finding the place of contentment and gratitude, that then you get this ache in you for more people to have that and for that in more of your life.
It's so funny because we're saying that the key to hungering for more is contentment. And again, it feels upside down again.
I know.
But I'm thinking we have a mutual friend who often talks about contentment and gratitude. And so it's almost like gratitude, being grateful for where we are. He says gratitude is the seedbed for hope to grow.
Yeah.
And so there's something in that contentment that's rooted in deep gratitude that allows hope for more to grow. It sounds so counterintuitive.
Yes. Well, and you see that so clearly. It doesn't matter the situation, but when I find people in any situation and they consider every breath and every day to be a gift, they have so little. They could be some of the poorest people I've ever met are the most joyful, satisfied people.
Yeah.
I was just with some of the poorest people I've ever met in Cambodia in a village, and the lady was talking to us. It must be nice to be able to fly from Australia and do this and go there. And we said, well, the only difference between us, our country and your country, is money. We still have all the problems too. Like we have lots of problems. And she went, oh, and she flipped completely. She said, yeah, actually, this is the best place on earth to live. Because when we're poor, we can just go pick a banana off that tree and we can fish in there and we can do this and there's always food for everyone. And and she was just like genuinely inviting us, saying, you guys should buy land here. It's cheap. And like, you could come live with us. It's the best place on earth.
I'd love to.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, and I was like, you know what? She's right.
Yeah.
Because she's like, she's sitting there with almost nothing that a Westerner would consider top quality life. And she's in a contented place, and what grows? Hope.
Yeah.
She every step of gratitude leads to the chance or the place of hope for what's to come. And I've seen the most hopeful people are surprisingly often in the worst situations. And I'm like, these Afghan girls under the Taliban or anything, and they're forced to stay in their home. They're just like a prisoner in their own home. And yet they are the most courageous, dignified, hopeful people I've ever met. And I'm like, it doesn't make sense. But it's just about your attitude. Yeah. And like, are you grateful? And can you find contentment in what you have?
Yeah.
And as you do that, hope emerges and you become someone that can actually walk towards a better future. Whereas we know, there's a lot of warnings to being rich. And that woe to you, because in some of the least grateful people I know and the least content people have the most stuff and the most things. And so it's really not the situation that should determine your gratitude. Your gratitude can transcend whatever situation you're in. And it's a very vital part of developing this hunger and thirst for real transformation and peace to come to the world, not just a negative understanding of like what we would call justice or things like that. So, yeah.
So I'm hearing 2 key strategies to enter into this idea of desiring a more better way. 1, praying for your enemies.
Yep.
And 2, finding deep contentment.
Yep.
And gratitude is a key for that.
Yep.
And I think those are 2 such practical ways
Yep.
to see, if you try those, what might grow in your heart and in your desire.
Yeah. And I would say that just the simplicity of 10 things you're grateful for is fascinating, because it really is like push-ups.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, it's no problem, until you're like 8, 9, and like it actually is a muscle you're developing in your brain to switch to and default towards gratefulness rather than cynicism. And that takes training. It's not just going to happen. It's like you have to train yourself and push, and it's like working out. And then with the prayer and the blessing and the doing good for your enemies, where people miss it is they think they're doing it to manipulate or turn it. Then there's an Old Testament
Help to be nice
quote.
to me.
Yeah, there's an Old Testament quote is like, do good to your enemies, or and it'll be like heaping burning coals on their head, which sounds like a real, like you're getting them back by loving them. But Jesus never says that. He says, love your enemies, then you will be true children of God. He never adds the like heaps of burning coals and all that. He just says, no, just love them. Just bless them for no reason, even if it never changes them. Don't do it to, not to get any outcome, but just love them, and you will be transformed, and you will be able to go into deeper relationships.
Appreciate it. Something I think we can all do today. 10 steps of gratitude, and exercise that muscle. And tomorrow, doing it again, getting up and going again. Thanks so much, Zach.
Yep.
Looking forward to the next part of the journey with you.